I grew up in Quebec City in Canada. My name is Gendreau and I'm a visual artist. In college, I studied in fashion merchandising and I moved to Montreal for my university degree. I always took art classes on the side, at night, weekends, whenever I wasn't working or studying. But this was always a hobby for me and something I needed to do, and I never was thinking that this could be a career path. After some years in Montreal working in the fashion industry, I really wanted to move to Europe, so it was a dream of mine. I moved first to Amsterdam and I lived there for 4 years, always taking many art classes again on the side while I was working in fashion as a visual merchandiser. Then I moved to Paris and I started to work for an American luxury brand where I worked my way up into a leadership position. So lots of traveling, responsibility involved, and also a very creative time working in many countries and meeting wonderful people. But that meant that I had absolutely no time to create art. I had the opportunity to move to Munich during that time, and then COVID happened and my creative department was shut down. So I had to work hard and give all my time to this job for 10 years. I took a few weeks to rest and think, and I realized I didn't want to work for another company or work in fashion anymore. So one day I was with a friend on FaceTime and she saw a painting behind me and she said, "Why don't you paint again?" And it just never crossed my mind that I could be an artist, one that actually do this as a living. So anyway, I got all my art supplies out of boxes from the basement and I started to paint again in my small kitchen in Munich. And I quickly started to sell to friends and family, and I just thought, well, maybe I have to give this a go. And we moved to a smaller town at this time as well, where my partner and I have friends and family, and where I could also have more space to work. So fast forward these last 2 years, I have now joined Art Association and built my social media and my website. I had 2 solo shows, I participated in group exhibition, and I sell now my painting in Europe, in the US and Canada, and I cannot believe it still. So for me, art is a form of expression. It's a visual language that allows me to express myself. Ultimately, I have to dig into my emotion, experiences, and find inspiration from within. I found myself in abstract art because it is like a need. I need to create something that wasn't there before, and I love to develop a work. I love the surprises. I love how a painting evolves as the day passes, as your feeling and inspiration changes. I build my painting with a lot of layers. I want my paintings to have a story, and I hope this will speak to others as well. As for my inspiration, well, I'm a fan of the modern art period, the early 20th centuries, and the expressionism style. But every day I find new inspiring artists, either on social media or when I visit exhibitions. So I found my inspiration everywhere, really. I make a lot of photography, from architectures to nature or close-ups of textures and walls and old structure, and these feeds in my work. For instance, I developed a series of work about the landmarks and the medieval city walls where I live now, and I'm really obsessed with the texture and all the old stones and bricks and the old structures. So what inspires me the most, I think, is actually the process of creating. Just the act of putting marks and paint down, adding collage pieces, building layers, sending back and adding more. The whole creative process becomes my inspiration. I love to have to react to what I do. To make mistakes, or what we call happy accident. I love to correct them and adjust and finally just make the right choices until you have this ha moment when the paintings tells you it is done. I use all kinds of tools, anything that will make interesting marks, and I love to reuse discarded materials or sand that I will bring back from a beach, or collage papers from old books. My main medium are acrylic paint, ink, and oil pastels. When I paint, I listen to podcasts or music, or sometimes I just create in silence. It is interesting to see how sounds influences the development of a painting as well. I think the biggest challenge as an artist is to find the right people that will appreciate your work. But as long as it is honest and genuine, I think that it can only come with time. You also have to show up every day, do the work, and find the motivation within you. It is not always easy, you have good and bad days, but you have to push yourself and be grateful to be able to do what you love. It seems to me an inconceivable thing to become a full-time artist and live from it, but after 2 years of really hard work, I'm starting to see that this can actually be my reality. I can live my long-time passion, and I hope that my viewers and collectors are feeling this passion as well, and their support keeps me going and pushes me to be better. My biggest dream is to be able to pursue this path and my creative journey, and my next step is looking into having a bigger space to create, ideally a gallery and a studio space combined, a welcoming space for artists and art lovers. If you are interested in my work, please visit my website and you can subscribe to my newsletter so you know what I am up to. It's www.anniegendreau.art, and you can also find me on Instagram at anniegendreau_art.